We're gonna do some Steph Curry appreciation tonight, because Steph Curry was, an interesting prospect in the time of his draft. Someone who was like maligned for a lot of things, and seemed divisive. But like looking back with obviously hindsight, he's one of the greatest prospects I've ever seen, and is so amazingly fun. Obviously, just the unbelievable deep threes, and the ones off of movement, and the ones creating with his handle, using them behind the back to get space, and his signature lean, and then yeah, just super deep off movement threes as well. Like his 3 point numbers are so ridiculous. They're important to contextualize. Like Steph is like basically the only guy ever to have these numbers, as I'm kind of showing here. The only other drafted player in this database with above 15 threes per 100 and above 89 from the line is funny enough, Isaiah Joe. But again, Steph clears massively on everything, even over him. And you have to go like way down, like 83 free throw, like 12 3 to even find a lot of approximates. And then you get like Trey and Lillard and stuff like that. It's so unbelievably rare, and like it's kind of understandable why like he was maybe miscategorized, like with his shooting, or it just wasn't understood the degree to which he was like the best prospect shooter ever, like not just the best shooter ever. Like Steph took, we have threes per game. Let's say he took 10 threes per game as a sophomore in 2008. Um, in 2008, no one took more than 7.3 a game, in the league. And even if we go to 2022, we see there's only one guy who's taken more than 10. And yeah, that's Steph Curry. So it's understandable that that was a concern, but it seems like people really underestimated the degree to which his handle is just amazing. Steph is one of the best handling prospects I've ever seen. His ability to stay tight here, keep this behind the back, in between. Is that behind? I think it's actually between the legs, or that is like the tightest behind the back I've ever seen. His handle, his ball control, which is unbelievable. I mean, he already like in college had so much of like the tricky shit like this, where he has like this little throw in front dribble, like this kind of like Russ throw dribble, to avoid this help and finish here. Like just little veteran like dribbler stuff. Yeah, just like so easily carving this press up. You can just see how well he moves, like how gyroscopic he is. Like there's no lag on any of his turns, like back and forth, left and right. He is just so quick changing directions. Again, I mean, just watch the guy dribble. Like it's really beautiful. It's quite something. Like the ability to just stop on a dime there, even if the shot's not going in. Like this is quite the creation. Like, and when you can hold control of the ball for this long, you just keep your options open. And I think that's like part of what always has made Steph so dangerous, and what made him dangerous as a prospect. Again, the ability to get really low and also take contact, and the balance was just amazing. And I think this is a place where I want to touch on like some of the scouting report stuff, at the time that I could find. And like the main knocks were like not an athlete, obviously. Um, like this one, it's like these scouting reports were very like checkboxy. It's like, oh, he's not going to be able to win off the dribble, but he has an amazing handle and has a bunch of handling things, when those things obviously coincide. Like it was much more checkboxy than even it is now, which is cool to see how it's evolved. But again, just lots of stuff about worrying about the athleticism, worrying about the size and the strength. And again, I think this is a pretty common mischaracterization of athletic tools, as Steph like has so many non-conventional run jump traits, like the balance and the strength, as we can see here, holding onto that ball. His coordination was clearly amazing. Like there was just rare stuff all of the time, with Steph Curry and his other athletic tools. And I'm sure athletic development and like the understanding of athletic development wasn't as much then, but like the tools that he does have, he's not, the most vertically explosive. He's even not the burstiest, but I think his burst was probably underrated by a lot of people. Like the way he just moves around the floor, and the way he can contort himself is an athletic trait. And of course, we began to see the blossoming of his off-ball game as well. You already see him drawing this defender hard, opening up a pass low, a Steph Curry special throughout his career. And again, you see him being able to juke guys off of ball and use the threat of his shot to open up better shots, which is really, really cool. So I want to go back to this and look at some of these comparisons just because they're fun, like Mike Bibby at the high, Gennaro Pargo, Steve Kerr, and of course I went back and watched these guys. This is like 2002 Gennaro Pargo Arkansas film, and the tape was so different. It was so obvious. Like the only real driving stuff Pargo was doing was like very simple, like closeout attacking. The handle was nothing special. Like he was like fairly quick, but not super quick. There just wasn't a lot of versatility in his offensive approach, especially on the ball. It was mostly just off-ball stuff, and like, yeah, there were some like off-movement threes and pull-up threes like that one, but there really just wasn't like a ton of variety in his game. And as I talked about recently on my channel, there's only so much that like he was able to do. Even on the highlight tape, you can kind of tell as I'm talking about highlight scouting, where Steph was routinely creating advantages off of the dribble with his handle and his speed and stuff. Pargo, again, it was mostly closeout attacks and some like secondary pick and roll and just a lot of shooting, which again is useful, and that's kind of what he did in the NBA. He was like, mostly an off-ball player. With some mid-range creation, a little bit of passing. Also, I fucking loved Gennaro Pargo. Like when I was a kid and watching basketball, that guy was super awesome. And yeah, like Steve Kerr was like a funny comparison. Like dribbled like dribbled like this. This is absolutely not a Steph Curry comparison. And there was also Jimmer, who like a lot of people thought was going to be the next Steph, but again, while there are similarities. We'll see Jimmer like nail the Jimmer range three. Man, what a time that was! What a time that was! You can just see how limited the handle is, how like generally stiff he is, how much he has to like look down, and how the ball slows in this behind the back move, and he just isn't able to create any separation. Cool pass though. And then again, which is going to be a very slow cross that isn't able to shake this defender. Obviously, Jimmer hits a beautiful shot. But that's, those are the kind of concerning things that even on like the best highlight tapes, you see college guys not being able to get easy shots, which is not a good sign for their ability to get easy shots in the NBA, which is so important. Like the other thing here is that like these were like the kind of plays that like regularly just happened with Steph. Like, just quick move, change of direction, burst against Mario Chalmers to take him off the dribble and finish at the rim. Like very simple like advantage creation stuff like this happened all the time for Steph. Like he was an advantage creation king, which just seems to be underrated still, honestly. I think another thing that's cool was that Steph was like a legitimately very impactful defender, and again, it's like being like very worried about like the defense, and because he's going to be a bad defender. There was definitely something in here about him being a bad defender. But yeah, like Steph really was an amazing, impactful defender in college, both on and off the ball. He had his issues with his athletic tools, and like maybe mainly his screen navigation was pretty trash, but like he was really good tracking off the ball, communicating, making little rotations like these tags, and moving his feet on these closeouts. Like this was really impressive defense, and these were the kind of possessions that were routine for Steph in the games that I watched. Again, just kind of being a pest on ball, able to stick at the point of attack, despite the perceived lateral quickness issues, which were kind of real, I think. And then we're gonna get like the most mid Steph highlight we've had all day, which is saying something. But yeah, like Steph was just unbelievable. I mean, there really like is no one like him, and I guess it does make some sense that people were worried at the time. And obviously, we have a decade plus more of scouting to know what we know. But like through the lens of real offensive engine prospects, guys who can create advantages at the highest level, who can score at the highest level. I mean, just that level of shooting was never really seen before, and people didn't know what to do with it. who is like good at everything. Like he's not bad at one thing. He's good at everything on the floor. He brings positive value everywhere. Yeah, that's what makes Steph Curry a superstar prospect.